Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Leah and most of my videos are focused on unsolved crimes and mysteries. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You know I'm always happy to have you right here with me. So the case we're going to be talking about today is a very old case. After I did the video of Susan Osborne and Evan Chartrand, I was contacted by someone who wanted me to take a look at a case, not because I could solve anything, and it's because the case is so old, it's really hard to find new information, new details, and new evidence. But I was still curious, so I looked up the name, and this case is so strange, it's so scary, and it's so sad. So I told her that I was going to look into this case, and it's a really tough one because there's no surveillance cameras. There's only 2 pictures in the case, and the pictures that I could find actually had nothing to do with the crime itself. It was more pictures of people searching, and it was not easy. So the only 2 pictures is 2 different pictures of one car, one from the side and one from the front. But I've been studying those pictures like crazy. I almost used binoculars just to see every single detail. But it paid off because I actually found 3 things on those pictures that I didn't see mentioned anywhere. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. And of course, I have my usual questions. I always have questions because there's just some things that doesn't make sense to me. So without further ado, I think we should just jump right in. Tracy Kegley was a 25-year-old beautiful woman living in Montgomery, Alabama, where she also worked in a laboratory. Greg Kegley, he was an ex-Marine and he worked at the Alabama Power Company. When the couple met, sparks were just flying everywhere and they really enjoyed each other's company. So in 1993, Greg and Tracy, they got engaged, and only 3 weeks later, on the 13th of February, Greg and Tracy, they got married. They bought a house together on Fairfield Drive in Montgomery and started their life there as husband and wife. Everything was going fantastic and they loved every minute of it, and they were actually just living the American dream. So on November 28, 1995, Greg and Tracy, they welcomed a beautiful baby girl that they named Peyton. Greg and Tracy were really devoted parents and they loved Peyton more than anything in the world. Everything was going perfectly for a few years, but unfortunately, Greg and Tracy's marriage didn't last. So in December 1997, they decided to go separate ways. A divorce petition was filed by Greg, citing the usual differences in incompatibility issues. But in spite of their issues and their difficulties, it seemed like they were on the same page because the divorce papers were signed by both of them on the same date, which was the 18th of February 1998. Greg, he kept the house on Fairfield Drive, and Tracy moved in temporarily with her parents in Eclectic. Greg kept his 1991 Chevrolet, and Tracy's 1995 Ford Taurus was returned to Greg. They also decided to share custody of Peyton 50-50. On March 13, 1998, a Montgomery court judge ordered Greg and Tracy to attend a parental course. It's a course that helps parents to help their children through a divorce, to show them and teach them how to handle the process with the children. Because Peyton was only 2 years old at this point, but even though she was that young, she is still gonna feel like her mom is missing or her dad is missing, and sometimes the children, they need some help getting through this. And that's what the parental course was for, to help Tracy and Greg help Peyton as much as possible. Greg had already completed the parental course on the 21st of January 1998 and got his certificate. Nobody knows why he took the parental course actually 2 months before the court even ordered it, and a month before they signed the divorce papers. Greg decided to go do this by himself, but there was no certificate for Tracy, and we don't really know why. Tracy was living with her parents in Eclectic, but she really wanted to move on with her life and get a new home for her and Peyton. So she was desperately looking for a new job. And she actually got hired in a dentist's office where she was supposed to start on her very first day, the 27th of April 1998. So on Sunday, the 26th of April, Tracy told her parents that she wanted to be ready for a fresh start on Monday, where she had her very first day at her new job. So she got Peyton ready, strapped her in the car seat, and they drove to the petrol station to fill up her car and put her car through the car wash. And that's actually the last time Tracy was ever seen again. It's unclear exactly when she was reported missing officially, but on Monday morning, the 27th, a man called the police to tell them that Tracy's car was found abandoned on the Old Georgia Road. He stopped his car and went over to check because she had tinted windows, so it was a bit hard to see what was going on inside. But when he approached the car, he could see movement, and when he opened the door, Tracy was nowhere to be found, but Peyton was still strapped in her car seat, unharmed. It was a bit strange because on the Old Georgia Road, there was road construction going on that would block big parts of the road. So Tracy would take another road to get to the petrol station. So it didn't really make sense what her car would be doing on the Old Georgia Road. But the police came out, and Peyton, she was handed over to Greg. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but there were some witnesses that saw Tracy at the petrol station, and they said she had a huge argument that was really loud with 2 or 3 people. And when the argument was over, the people she was arguing with, they left in the opposite direction. I don't know if it's true or not, but some people say there was surveillance cameras at the petrol station, and Tracy was seen putting petrol on her car, putting her car through the car wash, and she went inside the petrol station to pay, and they had that on video. But other people are saying there was no surveillance camera at all at the petrol station at that time. I actually believe there was security cameras because this was 1998, not 1940. Do you know what I mean? 1998, I am pretty sure there was security cameras. Tracy was seen on security camera in the petrol station, putting petrol on her car, walking inside the gas station to pay her bill. So what about the people she was arguing with? Shouldn't they be on the security camera as well? I'm assuming if they go to the petrol station, it's because they need petrol in their car, or they need the car wash. Either way, they have to pay something in the shop. So if she's recorded in the shop paying her bill, why are these people not recorded? It doesn't make sense. There's no description of these people. We have no idea if it's men or women. If they're tall people, short people, nobody can tell what they were arguing about. There's no description of the car. There's no license plate. The car is nowhere to be seen on the footage. So who was she arguing with? And what would they be doing in the petrol station if they were not putting petrol on their car? And I'm also thinking, why would you be arguing with people very loudly in a petrol station? What is there to argue about? You drive there and maybe you have to wait in line to put petrol on your car, but that's nothing to argue about. Then you drive to the car wash. There might be a line as well, where you just have to wait until it's your turn. Nothing to argue about there as well. How can you argue with strangers in a petrol station? I don't get it. then it would be because someone hit her car with their car, so she got a bump in her car. That might cause an argument. But if you look at the picture of her car, you don't see any bumps anywhere. Nothing is being said about any damage to her car. Nothing. So, was Tracy meeting someone there? We don't know. I'm just thinking it's really strange she would be arguing with strangers in a petrol station about what? Is it possible that she met Greg there and saw him with another woman? That could cause an argument because their divorce had just been finalized 16 days before she went missing. Or it could be the other way around. Maybe Greg went to the petrol station and saw Tracy with another guy. That could also cause an argument. I'm not blaming or accusing anyone of anything. I'm just trying to find out who and why she would be arguing with anyone. Very strange. If she was arguing with someone and it got uncomfortable, maybe they threatened her or something, maybe she panicked and just wanted to get out of there. And when you panic, you're not thinking straight. So maybe she forgot all about the road construction work going on the old Georgia road. She just needed to get out of there, and she knew this road like the back of her hand. So she just went that way. And these people might have gone in the opposite direction, but there is small roads that leads to the old Georgia road. So if these people, they were out to get her or kidnap her, they could have driven in the opposite direction and drove all the way around. But it would have been in high speed. But they could take a small road out to the Georgia road and meet her there. We don't know. And I'm also thinking, as a mother, you do everything in your power to protect your child. Why would Tracy be arguing really loud in front of Peyton? Peyton was only 2 years old. She would have been terrified with people screaming and shouting. To me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. I was looking at both pictures of Tracy's car. And if you look at the picture where you see her car from the front, in the background, you can see 3 cars parked there. But if you look at the ground, it's very smooth. There's no tire marks at all. The picture is a little bit blurry, so it can be hard to see. But I can't see any tire marks at all. And I know that Tracy was parked next to what almost looks like a small mountain or something. And it had been raining. So we all know when it's raining, the water comes down the mountain and the ground can be a bit soft when you park there. But if you look under her car, there's very fresh tire marks under her car. And they don't match Tracy's car. So I'm thinking, is it possible that someone pulled over and she pulled up behind them? That would explain the fresh tire marks under her car. And when you look at the left side of her car, if you look a bit under, there's a tire mark, and you can clearly see what looks like a boot print or a shoe print on top of the tire mark. Because if it was an old boot print and the tire mark was on top of the boot print, it would almost be erased. It would be really hard to tell that there had ever been a footprint there. So that's why I'm saying this tire mark was made first and someone stepped on it. So there's a footprint from a boot or a shoe or something. And next to this shoe boot print on the tire mark, if you look on the right side, in the bottom of the picture, there's something that looks a little bit like, I don't know, it looked a little bit like a piece of rope that's tied. It almost looks like the number 8. I don't know what it is. It could look like a small piece of rope. And I'm thinking, is it possible that someone faked that their car had broken down and they needed a jump start because the footprint under Tracy's car is facing the hood of her car. So that would make sense if someone was standing there to get the hood open. I don't know. And then I was thinking, this boot print or shoe print or whatever it is, could it be from the police when they arrived there? I just know that when police arrive to crime scenes, before they touch anything, they take pictures everywhere. I'm sure they went to take Peyton out from the car, but they don't do that from the front of the car. It doesn't really make sense to me why there would be a footprint in front of her car. And then I zoomed in on her car, the front of her car, and I saw a woman in the car. And I'm assuming it's a female police officer, probably looking after Peyton, comforting Peyton or something like that. But it's not mentioned anywhere that a policewoman entered the car. And I'm also thinking, isn't it like damaging the crime scene if someone goes into the car and sits there? And at the same time, I'm thinking, if Peyton have been there alone all night long, wouldn't you take her out of the car? Because she's been strapped in that car seat, I don't know for how long. That would definitely be the first thing that I would do, is get Peyton out of the car. So why would anyone enter the car and sit next to Peyton on the back seat? It doesn't make sense to me. I think it's strange. I think it's called incriminating the crime scene or something like that. You can clearly see a woman there. She's sitting like this, or like holding her hand like this. I don't know. It's very strange. I think it's really strange. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. And from what I've heard, Greg, he's a great guy, and he's an even more amazing father. I've been watching everything I could watch about this case. Every single video. I've been reading everything I could read about this case, and I could be completely wrong, but to me it doesn't seem like that Greg and Tracy ended their marriage on good terms, because first of all, Greg went to do that parental course by himself a month before they even signed the divorce papers. He could have been advised to do so, but it just seems strange they wouldn't do that together. There wasn't even a certificate for Tracy. Strange. When they decided to get a divorce, Tracy moved straight into her parents' house in Eclectic, and that means that you didn't get along and you couldn't live together anymore. And another thing is, she also had to give her car back to Greg. Why would he take her car from her when he knows that she has Peyton? He knows that she needs a car. But we don't know the reason. It could be a million reasons why. I'm just thinking, like, she would need a car, so why would he take her car from her? And obviously she got a new car, the Geostorm, that was found abandoned on the road. So it was not because she didn't want to have a car anymore. So I have a feeling that it didn't end on good terms. But like I said, I'm not blaming anyone, because I don't know Greg, I don't know Tracy, and none of us know their relationship. So I'm just sharing my very unprofessional opinion. So everything I'm saying is public information. So go do your own research and form your own opinions. Peyton was only 2.5 years old when this happened. And they say that after all of this happened at the petrol station, when they brought her back to that petrol station, she seemed like she was scared or nervous or worried about something. And I was thinking that Peyton, she's in her 20s now, and if she was traumatized in some way in that petrol station, did they ever consider hypnotizing her? Because you heard about it before, that people, they have suppressed memories from their childhood, and when they are put into hypnosis, they can connect with themselves as a child and bring back those memories. And maybe she would remember what happened at that petrol station and who was involved. I know she was very young, and I read that it can be hard to recall things that happened when you were that young, but wouldn't it be worth a try? I heard that the police talked about hypnotizing Peyton when all this happened, and the family said no. And I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I can't help wonder who said no to get this solved and find out who did this and what happened. Someone said no to hypnotizing Peyton. Was it Tracy's parents, or was it Greg that said no? We don't know. I hope one day there's going to be some answers in this case. My heart really goes out to Tracy's parents and Peyton, of course. It must be incredibly hard for them living all these years not knowing what happened to their daughter, and of course for Peyton not knowing what happened to her mother. I hope one day this case is going to be solved and Tracy will be found. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Do you think there was an argument at the petrol station? And if so, with who? With who? Don't you find it strange that there's no evidence, there's no surveillance video, there's no security video of these people she was arguing with? I think it's strange, very strange. But until the next one, take care and stay safe. Bye.